Hi, this is Polly from thefitmumformula.com, and today I'm going to be talking about how to reignite weight loss when you seem to have stopped or stalled. Now first, before I go into how to deal with it, I'm going to explain a little bit why this happens. Okay, so what you need to lose weight is to be in a calorie deficit. That is the number one thing that is absolutely non-negotiable. If you want to lose weight, you have to be consuming fewer calories than you're burning. So that's either through eating fewer calories or burning off more from being more active, or ideally a combination of both. So that's totally non-negotiable. But one of the things that determines how many calories you actually burn each day naturally, just while you're resting, even if you were to lie in bed all day, the amount of calories you're burning through that is partly determined by your weight and your body size. So imagine somebody who's very, very overweight. Even without getting out of bed every day, they're burning more calories than somebody who is much smaller and slimmer, who's lying in bed all day, purely because they are a larger person. And especially this is the case when you actually start getting up and moving around. If you imagine whatever weight you are now, if you were to put a rucksack on your back with 3 stone of rocks in it and walk around all day, that's going to feel like quite hard work. So it's the same when you're carrying around a lot of body fat. The fact that you're carrying that around means that you're burning more calories throughout the day. So if you go on a diet, you go on a weight loss plan, and you start exercising, you start losing weight, that automatically means the fact that you are lighter and a smaller person, you burn fewer calories per day just by that very nature. Now this doesn't take into account the fact that you might have more muscle, because muscle burns more calories than fat does. So if you're a very strong person, if you're very muscly, you're going to burn more calories. But on the whole, the smaller and lighter you are, the fewer calories you will burn every day. So when you start your weight loss journey and you needed, let's say you were very overweight, and so even for a woman, if you were eating 2,500 calories a day, if that was making you lose weight because you previously were eating 3,500 calories a day, which is quite a lot, by the way, for a woman, you might lose weight on that 2,500. But as you lose weight and you drop body fat, your calorie requirement goes down. So at some point you're going to reach the point where that 2,500 calories a day is no longer making you lose weight. That's now your maintenance calories. So if you want to keep losing weight, you're going to have to drop your calories further. Now that you can't drop it too low. It doesn't work like saying, well, all I've got to do now is go on some 800 calorie diet and it'll all come off. Now that's not helpful at all. That doesn't work. You're going to be very, very hungry. You're going to have very low energy, and there's all sorts of other things that I'm not going to go into today. But basically, one of the biggest, most common reasons I see for people stalling in their weight loss journey is because they haven't taken into account that they don't need as many calories as they used to. And you do need to drop it slightly. If you come to a plateau and you haven't changed your activity and you haven't changed what you're eating, that is the most likely reason for it. The next question is, where do you drop those calories? Because, of course, in some ways, a calorie is a calorie, and hypothetically, if you were to drop calories from any type of food, so long as you're in that calorie deficit, you will lose weight. However, there are better ways to go about doing it. So what we don't want to do is to leave you hungry with no energy and having cravings as well. We want to keep you feeling full and feeling energetic and feeling really, really good. So what are the calories to cut in order to do that? Well, 2 things that I would recommend not cutting are vegetables and salad, and probably fruit for most people as well, because those are all very nutritious, very high in fibre, very high in water, so they're bulky and they'll fill you up without too many calories. Some fruits are a little bit more calorie dense, things like bananas, but at the end of the day, most people don't get really, really overweight from fruit. It's going to be more calorie dense foods than that. It's going to be junk foods, it's going to be cakes, it's going to be even healthy calorific foods, things like nuts and avocados. They can pile on the calories quite quickly. But I would not at least start with keeping your fruit and vegetables and your salad high. The other thing you want to keep high is fibre from other things as well. Even if you're cutting down on carbs slightly, things like beans and legumes and pulses, they're very high in fibre and resistant starch. Now, they're not only great for gut bacteria, and we're learning every day that gut bacteria is really important, but they also keep you really, really full. That resistant starch, as the name suggests, it's resistant to digestion and it keeps you really full. So beans are a fantastic food for people who want to lose weight because they're just really, really filling. And the other thing that you do not want to cut down on, at least at first, is protein, because protein, calorie for calorie, is the most satiating, satisfying and filling macronutrient. Protein is really, really filling. It's very hard to overeat a diet of pure lean chicken breast and broccoli. I'm not saying you should eat that, and I'm not saying that's a balanced diet, that's great, but if you were to eat just chicken breast and broccoli, there is no way you'd be able to overeat. That is so, so filling. You wouldn't be able to manage it unless you were adding things like fats and cooking it in butter and that kind of stuff. It's just too filling. So protein's another one that you do not want to cut down on. And also, as you're losing weight, remember, you want to burn fat. You don't just want to lose any old weight. You don't want to lose your muscle. Muscle is what makes you look toned. It keeps you strong and prevents injuries. It's also metabolically active, like I was saying before. Having muscle on you actually makes you burn more calories, even at rest. Somebody who is a certain size, certain body size, but very toned and muscly and firm, burns more calories and can get away with eating more each day than somebody who is the same size but a lot softer and made up of a higher percentage of fat compared to muscle. So you don't want to be losing muscle, and combined with resistance exercise, one thing that's needed to preserve and gain muscle if you want to is protein. So that's the other thing that you want to keep high. So that leaves fats and carbohydrates, and this is where it has to come down to your personal preference. Some people feel better when they have more carbohydrates in their diet, and everybody needs a minimum amount of fat, but some people need more than others. Some people are okay just on that minimum amount, and they prefer to get those other calories from starchier foods, things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, oats. Bananas are a slightly starchier fruit as well. And beans have got starch in them too. Other people aren't so bothered about carbs, and they're quite happy to go quite low carb and cut out a lot of those starchy foods, but they feel a lot better if they're having more fats in their diet, things like avocados, nuts, cooking with coconut oil, having a little bit of butter on your vegetables, but then having no starch. And so, again, it totally, when it comes to that last little bit about what you're going to cut down your calories on, that's where I can't say categorically where you need to cut your calories from. Some things might be obvious. I would first cut out the less nutritious foods, the really sugary, junky foods. You know, if you're still eating cake, chocolates, biscuits, really that's common sense. Alcohol as well is another one. I would say liquid calories, bar protein shakes, things like fruit juice and fruit smoothies, I would say cut those out, because they're not filling at all and they're not really serving you nutritionally. They're not providing much bang for their buck in terms of goodness compared to their calories. But really the decision, after you cut out the junk, keep the protein in, keep the vegetables, the fruit and the salad in, your decision has to be, where are you going to cut those calories from? Is it going to be from the more carbohydrate-y things and you're going to cut down on fat? Or are you going to cut down on some of your fatty things and keep the carbs in? I suggest you just give it a try. See how you feel. Play around with your meals a bit. Try out different meals. Try out different meals at different times of day. Some people like carby foods before bed because they help them sleep. Other people prefer them earlier on in the day to give them more energy. It's completely individual, so have a play around with it. But basically what it comes down to is if you're not losing weight, you just need to eat fewer calories at the end of the day. So I hope that was helpful. Please share this video, like and comment if you've got any questions or got any suggestions or thoughts of your own. And I hope that was helpful for you. Let me know if you've got any questions. Well, contact me, Polly@thefitmumformula.com, and I will speak to you very soon.